Oh, that boy, I tell you, he's just terrible. Jimmy! Oh, Jimmy! Jimmy, where's my blanket? Oh, there you are, you silly lad. Thank you very much. Oh, hello, boys and girls. How are we all? Nice day today. It's raining outside here. I couldn't even get out and prune me roses. Alrighty, let's see where we're up to, shall we? Chapter 45. Oh, like this one. Wigs and makeup. I don't mind the odd wig, just quietly. All right, here we go. As they stepped out of the changing room, Jack and his grandfather made an unlikely pair of nurses. The boy was unusually short, and there wasn't time for Grandpa to shave off his bushy moustache. Crikey. The changing room was situated at the back of the old folks' home and had a long rail of nurses' uniforms. Jack and Grandpa had hastily grabbed a couple and put them over their own clothes. At the far end of the changing room stood a tall mirror and a table with a selection of wigs and a big box of makeup which Jack and his grandfather had raided. Reminds me, I need to get some new lipstick too. Grandpa had become a blonde bombshell, his grandson a sultry brunette. The boy was right. The nurses were clearly all men in disguise. Twilight Towers was certainly no ordinary old folks' home. Each time you peeled off layer after layer, it became stranger and stranger. As they tottered down the corridor, a group of nurses bundled past, charging towards the front door. Grandpa nodded. They should join them, they thought. Their only chance of escape now was to try and blend in with the staff. They had to pray that they would not get stopped as they made their way along the labyrinth of corridors towards freedom. Let's hope they make it. As the nurses reached the front door, Grandpa and Jack followed a short distance behind. But just as they were about to escape into the dark, a voice bellowed, "Stop!" All the nurses turned around to see Matron standing behind them, all wielding her souped-up cattle prod. Nurses Daisy and Blossom were flanking her. These two now had their wigs back on to front. I'm back to front, sorry. I'm getting a bit excited, boys and girls. And they both looked even more ridiculous than before. Matron approached her army of nurses slowly, gently tapping the palm of her hand with her instrument of torture. As discreetly as they could, Jack and his grandfather shuffled themselves to the back of the group so as not to be seen by her. The rest of our inmates seemed to have got away. Where are the two ringleaders of tonight's breakout? They're still here in Twilight Towers. I'm sure of it, said Miss Swine. I can feel it in my bones. And they are the ones who must not escape. Yes, matron, came a chorus of voices, all far too deep to be women. My orders are for you all to split up into pairs and search every last nook and cranny of this building until you find them. If you fail, I will turn my cattle prod on you, she shouted. Yes, matron. Despite all the nurses being strong men, it was clear they lived in mortal fear of their boss. With great authority, she barked further orders to her troops. Nurses Tulip and Hyacinth, search the dormitories. Yes, matron, they answered before marching off towards the stairs. Nurse Violet and Pansy, you two search this floor, the living room, the kitchen, everywhere. Yes, matron, replied the next pair before they marched off too. Nurses Daisy and Blossom? Yes, matron, they answered in unison. You can search the basement. But I'm scared of the dark, complained Nurse Daisy. Miss Swine's face contorted into displeasure. She was not used to having her orders disobeyed. She slapped the palm of her hand hard with her cattle prod. You will do as I say. Yes, matron, replied the nervy nurse, now trembling in fear. The pair headed off. That left matron alone in the corridor with her newest nurse, Jack and Grandpa. As for you, Miss Swine was looking straight at them. The pair had no idea, and they had no one to hide behind now. The boy was standing on his tiptoes in an attempt to look taller. Meanwhile, his grandfather was covering his moustache with his hand and pretending to cough. I haven't seen you two here before. Who are you? Demanded Miss Swine. Jack put on his deepest voice. Nurses, matron. What are your names? The pair had to think fast if they were not going to get busted. Nurse Bluebell, replied Jack. Nurse Graham, replied Grandpa, forgetting he was meant to choose a girl's name. Jack gently jabbed him with his elbow. Gardenia? Slowly and calmly, matron approached them. Both instinctively put their heads down in a desperate attempt not to be recognised. This made matron even more suspicious. Still tapping the prod in her hand, she stepped closer and closer. Take your hand away from your face, she whispered to the old man. Grandpa pretended to cough again. Bit of a cold coming on. The lady brought her hand up to his. She held on to it tight, digging her long, sharp nails into his skin. Then, with considerable force, she pulled his hand down from his face, revealing his rough, standard-issued moustache. Should have shaved it. I knew he should have shaved it. Just forgot to pluck today, Grandpa tried. Needless to say, matron was not convinced. Slowly but surely, she brought up her prod and moved it towards the old man's face. As she did so, a bolt of electricity shot out of the end. Grandpa gulped in terror. Oh, might need to get a cup of tea after that one, boys and girls. I'll see you in a minute, okay?